11:31. It's three-man front here on this Thursday. Hope everyone is doing well. We got Coach David Cutcliffe coming up in just a moment to tell you about the Nick Saban Legacy Award, the event coming up next Monday, August the 18th, 6 o'clock. They're at Red Mountain Theater, and you can get tickets. You got VIP options, gold and silver. For more, you can go to the Monday Morning Quarterback Club website at mmqbc.org. And the Nick Saban Legacy Award, Pat, it just honors folks that gave so much, not only to the sport of college football, what they did for young people. And our next guest, he certainly epitomizes all of that.
There's no doubt about it. We're talking about Birmingham native, the third winningest coach in Duke football history. Of course, he had a great run in Oxford, Mississippi at Ole Miss, longtime offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Volunteers. And we're talking about Coach David Cutcliffe, Birmingham's own, comes back home coming up this weekend to the Nick Saban Awards. Coach, welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on Three Man Front.
Well, I am always excited to talk to you folks in Alabama where football's first. It's an interesting thing to grow up in that state, and everybody's a little anxious right now. We're that close to kickoff, huh?
No, that we absolutely are, Coach. And I'm just curious, if you think back to your days at Banks High School and where the game is today, is it just mind-boggling to think how far we've come in a short time, really, in regards to the timeline of football?
Yeah, it's interesting because of my football life. I think sometimes, and this may be crazy, but I think about equipment. I think about what we wore that were hip pads. That's not even a thing anymore.
Right.
Of course, knee pads aren't really. How did we move? And then the helmets we had, suspension helmets. Coaches had metal whistles, and when they were upset with you, they would hit you in the helmet, swing the whistle, and that metal whistle would hit that helmet, and it would be ringing in your ears. And I'm thinking, okay. And then I've actually practiced football with a wooden paddle on the field and lifted weights with a wooden paddle in the weight room if you weren't working like you should work. So tell me we hadn't come a long, long, long way in a short period of time. If there had been a portal, there would have been nobody where they were. They would have all gotten in the portal the way things were treated, right?
Yeah, that's right, Coach. Coach, when you think back to this time of year, getting your respective, whether it was Ole Miss, whether it was Duke teams ready for the start of the college football season, you mentioned the anxiety of fans that, and we certainly get anxious, we get excited, but do you know a lot about your football team at this point, or are there still a lot of questions that coaches want to see answered?
I think that more and more guys have questions. I visit, all 16 of the SEC teams because it has become such a year-to-year challenge. And if you just take I always start my football season in January looking at a team. And one of the things Coach Bryant always thought he was right, and he used to say all the time, we're only as good, folks, as our second team at the end of spring practice. And he's not wrong, because you start looking at pivotal roles people play through injury or whatever. And now you go, all the way up into June, trying to form, I don't even like the word roster because that sounds like NFL, but trying to put your team together. And now you look at it, and you've got a limited amount of time in August. We have less time than ever, and just the number of practices. So it's not as cut and dry as people might think. And then I go around, and rightfully so, you don't ever see a quarterback get hit anymore in practice. Can't risk it. So how are they going to play when the bullets fly? But the difference in quarterbacks often, and particularly in the passing game, is in the pocket, is the focus, the ability to keep your eyes downfield. And anybody that wonders about that, I think we need to put microphones in the pockets to let people hear a pocket. If you've never heard it, you have no idea how wild it sounds in there. So yeah, I miss. I really miss. I sneak out there every now and then in team periods and get back behind there myself. But that's when I can start telling where a quarterback's head is. And I don't think you find that out this day and time the same way. They don't come close to them, if you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely. Coach David Cutcliffe joins us here on Three Man Front. Coach, you were talking about the quarterbacks, and you have such an interesting perspective. You were Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator at Tennessee. You were his brother Eli's head coach at Ole Miss. So I'm just curious, a thought or two on another Manning, Arch Manning, at the University of Texas this year, taking the reins as Quinn Ewers has moved on to the NFL.
Yeah, well, Arch and I are close, and I've had good chances to work with him when he was younger and in his past, and his dad Cooper and I are close. And one of the things I tell people about Arch, I mean, he's dealing with more with social media, and when you pick up your cell phone and all you see is your cell phone at every day, those are a challenge. But he's like all the Mannings, and it starts with Archie and Olivia, and then Cooper and Ellen. He has a great group of people. His support cast is phenomenal. And Arch is very grounded and very capable because of the people in his life. I saw him at media days. He came over and hugged my neck and said, "The big two." And I said, "That's right. That's all you got to remember." And that's one thing I've always taught. And the big two is this. It's first, your focus going into college football is to become the best teammate on the team. Nothing else. Number one focus, best teammate on the team. How do you do that? You care more about others than you do yourself. You focus on their progress, on their successes. And what it does is it keeps you from going up and down when you first come in to that level. There are going to be ups and downs. Well, he was I loved it that he's smiling and saying that. And then the second one, I always have told everybody I've coached, not just quarterbacks, when we're little, in this game that we love and we start playing it, and I can remember myself back to 4 years old. We never said we're going to go outside and work football. What do we say? Let's go play football. You're still playing football, man. You're getting to do what you love. Don't ever forget that. I would remind all my guys and guys that are still in the NFL the same thing. Go play football, brother, and you just don't internalize as much negative when you do that. So I think he's going to handle it. I know he's very talented, but you know what? It doesn't just always work out to script. So let's just go like you always do. It's one game at a time, and then you make practice like a game. You got to have a successful Monday to have a successful Saturday, right through the week. And, I think he's prepared to take that mentality.
Coach, when I think and I hear quarterback whisper, I think about you and the great quarterbacks and the guys that you helped to develop and the careers that they ended up having. But outside of having talented guys to coach, if someone said, "Coach, what was your secret? What was the secret to your success and how you were able to take the tools that you have and make them great?" What would you tell them?
My personal strength is trust in relationships. I've never lied to a youngster, and they know it. And I don't think there's any relationship on earth that is as good as it can be without trust. I've always taught our coaches that. Be truthful. Don't ever burn a bridge that you can't repair. And, once you do that relationship, you can be as tough on them as you can possibly be because they truly know you love them. When you're consistently telling people the truth, they know when you say, "Hey, man, I love you," they know you mean it. And you're there under any circumstance for them. So that's been my entire philosophy. And then the other one, just from being successful with quarterbacks, And I see, and I tell this to young coaches, and I'll still do some coaching clinics just because I want to, because that's passing things forward. Is that the I don't care what you know as a coach, and that's at any position, but particularly a quarterback. Don't be trying to impress me with PowerPoints. Your whole job is to teach that player absolutely everything you know, and then listen to him. He's the functional part. He will actually know more than you. And when you reach that, when they can go to the line of scrimmage and call a run game and call a pass game better than you, the word everybody's heard, Omaha, that guy loved managing the game at the line of scrimmage. I'd have to tell him as a veteran, I'd say, quit coaching and go to playing, man. Your mechanics aren't good. I'd call him after a game. I said, stop. You can't be a coach and a player at the same time. But, that's still the strength is and the thing, and I tell Archie this because he and I still talk football. Teaching young people why is more important than ever because this generation is darn sure going to ask you why. But I've always taught why. I don't ever get on to them about what they did or how they did it. I want them to know why you have to do it this way to be successful. And I've seen defensive coordinators that I knew. Bill Oliver was one of the best at that without a shadow of a doubt. Every player on his defenses knew why they were doing this, or why they made a check. And that's a great strength. So y'all got me coaching all over.
No, we love it.
Got me fired
I could
up,
listen to this for 5 more hours.
Our listeners are eating it up, Coach. I did want to ask you, in your new role as a special advisor to the Southeastern Conference, how much fun are you having with that, being able to go around to the different schools and just be an active member of this conference?
Well, I love the SEC. I grew up in it. I could turn a pasture into any SEC stadium when I was growing up. I would hear the fans. I'm serious now. I'm not playing games by myself. So it's home for me in more ways than people would ever know or imagine. I really love the relationships that you can build. And I don't go in and walk right into a head coach's office. First place I go when I visit a football program is the equipment room. People say, well, why do you do that? Well, the focus always has to be the players. And I'm not talking about paying the players. I'm talking about growing the players. And you know who knows more about what's happening with players than anybody in any of the buildings? The equipment room is right by the locker room. They know what's up. I say, hey, man, how are they? Are they coming together? How's the locker room? They get it. And those guys work their rear ends off, and they don't get rewarded, like a lot of people do. They should financially, but I'm going to pay a lot of attention there. Then I'm going to leave there, and I'm going to go to the training room. And by the way, I call those people coach. Coaches in the equipment room and the training room, they're every bit as much a coach as I am, because what a coach is, you remember where the word comes from. Back in England, people got in something from where they were to get to a desired destination. Okay? That's how the coach does. And if you think somebody in the training room or the equipment room doesn't help that young person, oh, my goodness. It's a thing of beauty. So, yeah, it keeps me around good people. And I love good people.
Well, yeah, that's where it starts with you. You're just a good person and a true gentleman, and we are honored to call you our own here in the state of Alabama, Coach, and all that you did for college football. Congratulations. You're going to be one of the recipients of the Nick Saban Legacy Award. Also, the late Coach Pat died. That's coming up Monday at Red Mountain Theater, 6 o'clock, and we invite anyone who wants to attend. That's going to be an outstanding event that they can go, and we'll tell them how to order tickets, but a well-received honor.
And I'm very humbled to be going in with Coach Dye. I knew Coach Dye when he was coaching defense at Alabama, and what an unbelievable football man. And I'll tell a story Monday night about Coach Dye. I called him not long after I was named the head coach at Ole Miss to ask him some things, and I'm going to share that hopefully I get a chance to share that Monday night.
Can't wait to hear it. Coach Cutcliffe, it's been an honor. Thank you for taking time. Congratulations, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Say 3-man front's better than a 4-man front. Don't ever forget that, okay?
Amen. And we're going to use that. We're going to mark that. Thank you, Coach.
All right, take care.
You as well. Coach David Cutcliffe. We'll tell you more about the Nick Saban Legacy Award. But it is, you can mark your calendar, coming up Monday, August the 18th, Red Mountain Theater, 6 o'clock. You can go to which is Monday Morning Quarterback Club, mmqbc.org. We'll continue 3-man front on Jocks.